Today we're going to talk about invasive winter shrub ID, and I often find that even in the wintertime it's easier for me to ID invasive shrubs because you don't have the leaves kind of obscuring the form of the tree. And I often first, when I'm out in the field, I look at the form if I'm coming up to a tree that I think might be something to control. I'll look at the form of it. What does it look like? Then I'll look at the bark. I'll look at where it's growing, and then I'll see if there's like what the twigs are like and if there's any fruit on them. Right here we have a Multiflora Rose, which is a nasty little bugger because they have these huge recurved thorns that are not forgiving. So the Multiflora Rose can get quite large, but it is kind of graceful. It has these long arching stems armed with spines, and often the bark is kind of a green color. Here it's starting to change a little rusty colored, and you're going to be looking for it's the first week of spring here, but we can still talk about winter shrubs. These will often hold the berries throughout the winter, so there'll be these clusters of little red berries. This one, actually, the rabbits have helped girdle, and so maybe they're doing a service for us, and maybe this thing will be top killed. Here we have the autumn olive. This is another kind of shrub that has these multiple stems, and it's kind of upright, but they kind of sweep out. Here's a plant that you'll often see more in drier locations, and so you're not going to see it as much in wet locations. So if you're controlling shrubs, on the river plain or floodplain or something in your swamp, you probably won't see that, even though I have seen these. They're pretty versatile plants. More times you're going to see it more in these drier upland sites. And so the form of it is multi-trunked. And then what I like to look at is this bark is kind of a light brown, but it's almost kind of got speckles of silver in it. It's pretty smooth. And the stems and the bark all have kind of this silvery appearance, as do the leaves, but that's more in the summertime. Autumn olive, it's a prolific fruiter. It has one plant can produce 200,000 seeds in a year. Here we have the honeysuckle. When I am doing winter shrub control, I look at the form of the honeysuckle, and it's kind of more of a graceful shape to it, multi-trunked. You're going to see these graceful branches kind of arching over. I look at that arching shape in addition to this vertical striations in the bark, kind of a tan color. And this one, there's a couple different species of honeysuckle. The other, the Taterica, is one that you would have deeper fissures in the bark, but you're still gonna, they're all gonna have kind of that vertical tan striations. The stems are all very opposite, and there's no question if it's opposite or alternate. So in a snapshot, honeysuckle, is it arching and graceful? Does it have the vertical stripes? This one is everywhere. It grows everywhere, and often I'll take out big buckthorn, and once the big buckthorn is removed, the honeysuckle pops up. So it really stays in the seed bank for a long time, and it's, in my opinion, a lot harder to control than the buckthorn. It's very persistent. Okay, here we have Privet, brought here probably as a a hedge. A lot of people like to still plant this as hedges. Well, they've escaped and now they're in our natural areas. This one, the privet, tends to like wet feet, and so you'll find huge thickets of this along floodplains. Sometimes they'll just be an individual in a forest though too, so keep your eye out for that. Usually single trunked. This one has some bigger branches. When I look at it in the wintertime, from a distance I can see it's very upright and kind of a very X-current type shape. It's kind of a yellowish tan color, but they have these really thick, some of them can have these really thick spines coming out from the stem. They also will often have the fruit on. Here we're in the first week of spring, but in the winter time you're going to have these big clusters of kind of these purple, blackish purple, almost frosty colored fruit. It's very opposite. There's no question. So privet it's kind of another one that you're going to want to keep an eye out. It's not as prevalent as buckthorn, but it's out there. Hand saws, loppers, brush cutters, however, whatever means you have, take it out.